With Litecoin, I like to use a Trezor. For ERC20 tokens, they're all pretty good. Doesn't really matter. Do I have any hidden gems? Not to share with you today. I'll be releasing a new newsletter on Tuesday, and I'll have some pretty good stuff. Uh-oh, what happened here? Why is my Coinergy going crazy? Thoughts on Deep Brain Chain? I just found that yesterday, and I was reading through it. It's pretty interesting stuff. I posted a tweet about it, a link to their Telegram, and a link to their website. Deep Brain Chain is basically a platform for AI cloud computing, essentially. So when you're computing these things for AI, it's super intensive on your computer, and it's pretty expensive to do it. So they're developing a platform that is gonna kind of make a cheap way for AI companies to use some computing power. Favorite indicators. My favorite indicator is definitely Ichimoku Clouds. I think it's by far the best indicator in crypto. Let me see, what settings do I usually use? For Ichimoku, I usually use set my own settings. I like to go 20, 60, 120, 30. So I found that it's best for crypto. I also wouldn't, my main recommendation on Ichimoku Clouds is don't use it on a short time period. I usually use it on 4 hours, and that's basically the most accurate reading you can get on it. Let's see. How do you diversify as far as percentage? What's your formula for collecting profits? I'm a little bit more of a high risk trader, so at any given time I'll probably be 40 to 50% in the main coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and then around 50% in alts if Bitcoin's not going too crazy. So the last couple days, obviously Bitcoin's been breaking out. I've been trying to be mostly in Bitcoin, 80 or 90%. I'm still holding my Lux. I like my Dragons, and then I'm still holding Raiden. It was much higher, but I mean, I have huge hopes for Raiden. I think it's gonna be really big in 2018. I'm currently practicing a lot with Ichi. Any suggestions, literature or videos? There's some pretty good videos on YouTube for Ichi. There's not really any books. I found one book when I was looking. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't have the book on Ichi, but let's see if I can find the video where I first watched and started to learn from. I think it was this one. I can post a link later for it. Let's go into it a little bit.
Options. Traders take a position on whether a market will finish above a specific.
So this guy gives a really good video just to introduce Ichimoku Clouds, basically what they are, the different lagging spans on it, and how to use it, a couple different strategies. So I can post this link after in my Telegram, and I'll put it on my Twitter as well. Definitely a good place to start. And then another way to learn with Ichimoku Clouds is just go back on a chart and study it. Bitcoin's a bad one because Bitcoin's been so bullish, but let's go to what chart do you guys want me to go to? Let's see. What's one that's been up and down a lot? Let's go to GRS. This has been a good one. So the first thing I like to do with Ichimoku Clouds is I make the indicators a lot thicker so that I can see them. And then let's also, I gotta fix this chart. These lines are killing me. Background white. And all right, there we go. What am I missing? So when you're looking at Ichimoku clouds, there's a couple different ways to trade it. The safest way to trade it, I would say, is you look for a crossover, and you also want it to be going through the clouds. So for example, if you were using these clouds, GRS had what, like a 10x run, 8x run a couple weeks ago. So right here, we're looking at October 25th. If you're a safe trader, what you want to look for is this crossover right here. This crossover is a cross between the lagging span and kind of a shorter span. It's two different time frames that you can use. And what this crossover is telling you is that we're about to enter a bullish phase on the chart. You know, the short term is looking better than the lagging span, which means the price has been increasing over the last, I use 20 and 60 for them. So the 20 candle price is increasing above the 60 candle price, which means that short term we're looking at some gains. So if you look right here, there's a crossover, but we're still below this cloud. The cloud is a big resistance. So the thicker the cloud, the more resistance. So if we're looking right here and we saw a crossover right around here, that'd probably be a fake crossover because this resistance is crazy. But if you look down here, resistance is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. We see this crossover. So if you're a safe trader, once you see this crossover and the candle closes through the cloud, that's when you're going to hop in. And you're going to hop in and ride it all the way until there's another crossover. This is a bearish sign. Obviously, there's fakes, but this is a pretty strong indicator that right here, you should get out or you should be setting a stop loss pretty close to this line. And like I said, that's the most safe strategy to trade with Ichimoku clouds. There's 3 other strategies that you can learn. Like I said, that video I was showing you, it introduces all of them. Pretty easy to learn. Obviously hard to master. I'm still working on it because there's just so much behind it. But watch that video, then go back on charts and just study it a little bit. See where you'd be able to make money, where you can spot it. And obviously over time you're going to develop your own strategy to use it. And that's the best way to trade. How can you join my newsletter? Right now I don't have a mail sign up or anything. I'm gonna get that going soon where you can actually subscribe to it. Just haven't had a lot of free time. My semester is ending on Monday, and then I'm gonna be taking next semester off. So those are the types of things I'm gonna be working on. Neo, how do you spot the fake cross? Just went over that. Give details about your best altcoin. I'm not really live streaming to talk about altcoins and chill altcoins. I really want to answer questions on stuff like technical analysis, you know, how I do research, because there's no point in me coming on here and talking about altcoins. It doesn't help anyone. How do you indicate how high a coin will go? Also with Ichi. So Ichi's not a good method to find the top. Like right here, there's nothing about this indicator that will help you find the top. However, it's a really good indicator of when to get in and when to get out. Because like I said, even if you're playing it safe, you got in right about here at 2,600 sats. You go all the way up. Even if you hold it and you don't sell at the top, your sell signal's right here at 11,250. So that's a 4x right there. And that's just playing it safe. Can you make a video on technical analysis? I'm going to be making a lot more videos soon. Like I said, just haven't had a lot of time. Finally got the streaming computer set up, so I'll be able to do all these things. Do you ever use BitMEX for leverage? I don't use BitMEX yet. I'm going to be making an account today though and learning that. Hopefully can do it pretty well and make a tutorial. What is a good resource to learn how to do TA? I actually get this question a lot. So the best resource to learn TA is I would buy a book on Forex trading methods. I think crypto trades pretty similarly to Forex in terms of indicators. If you get a book on just like traditional stock market indicators, I don't think it's gonna do you very well, because stock market trades only 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Crypto's 24 hours, and so is Forex. So if you learn the indicators from Forex, that's a good start. And then there's different methods to apply those indicators to crypto, because obviously in crypto we're trading against Bitcoin. and that can change the way that indicators are showing. How do I do my research? I'll do some research in a second. Let's see if the EtherDelta transaction went through. Still waiting on that. Apparently we're going to be pretty backed up, but I'll do some research in a minute. Do you use fib for the top? A lot of people do. I'm really not too worried about finding tops when I'm trading. I'm a short-term trader, so I'm just looking to get to really just secure profits. I'd rather make a nice safe trade and make 15 to 20% rather than trying to chase the top for that extra 10 or 20%. What services do I pay for? I don't pay for any services. Almost all the calls I make are on my own for my own research. Highly suggest you do that as well, because when you're making your own calls, that's the only way that you can learn from your mistakes. If you're following someone else blindly, then if they fuck up, you don't really have any explanation behind it. You didn't do any research. You don't know why you got in. You were just following someone. Give me one sec. Had to get some water real quick. Didn't realize how tiring this is. Alright, back to questions. What is your strategy to find gems? Low market cap, hype, strong community, only on EtherDelta. Again, I'm going to get into that in a second. I got some pretty easy tips that I can give to you guys to just, find a coin, see if it's legit, see how much room it has to grow. Top 3 TA tools. I use Ichimoku clouds, like I said. Another one I like is RSI. It's just the most basic thing. RSI is kind of a good indicator of when it's overbought and oversold. There's some basic ways to use RSI to figure out the tops. That's a pretty good indicator if you want to figure out the tops and when to sell, because you can see things like bearish deviation, which we have right here. And then third indicator, that's really all I use, to be honest. I use sometimes I'll use some bands, but pretty rarely. In my opinion, all you don't need any of these indicators. You just need Ichimoku clouds. Then you need to learn some basic candlestick patterns. Can you explain your routine to pick up a coin? I'll get back into that. How much time do you invest daily on crypto? Do I even sleep? On any given day, I'm spending between 6 and 10 hours on crypto, I'd say, between research, answering questions. Mostly answering questions right now, actually. I do sleep Thursday through Saturday. I go out a lot. I like to drink. If you want to donate, there's some links in there. Your donation just goes straight to my drinking habits. Can you make a living from crypto? I don't know. I'm about to find out. I'm actually taking next semester off of school to see if you can make a living from crypto. I know some guys who have been in it a lot longer than me. They make a shitload of money, and I'm sure they can make a living from crypto, no problem. Do you use shorter time frames, if at all, 15, 30, or 5? So I trade mostly from 4-hour and daily patterns. When I first started, I was trading a lot on 5 minutes and 15 minutes, and I was getting crushed. I don't really think that on the shorter time span charts you can get a good read of the general trend. Now, if you're just looking for a quick trade, like a quick 5 to 10 minute, maybe make 3%, or maybe a quick 1 hour trade, make 10 to 15%, you can look at shorter time spans. Shortest I would ever look at is 15 minutes, but like I said, it can be pretty deceiving, especially if you're looking for a longer trade. Or sorry, if you're not like a day trader, you're not going to be sitting in front of your computer the whole day. What's the best way to know what the peak target will be to sell before the 30 to 50% correction? Honestly, it's really hard to find the tops. That's one of the most difficult things to do. I haven't found a good way to do it aside from just gut feeling. You can use some indicators to see when it's topping out. Like I mentioned, RSI is a really good indicator for that. But it's kind of tough. In crypto, there's so much going on. You want to just take your profits and move on. Unless you're going to hold a coin long term, like you really believe in the project, it's always good to take profits. And then just keep like 10% of your original investment, hold that long term. Seems like research is the key to making profit. Do you think so? It depends. Everyone makes money in different places. I know guys who strictly trade on TA and they do great. I know other guys who strictly trade on fundamental analysis. They do great. I think that research is a way to find the big runners. Like if you're looking to get a 10 or 15x in 6 months, that's when you really have to do the research. You got to find a coin that has a low market cap, or like a mid cap coin with a lot of room to grow. If you're going to be looking at a big market cap coin like Neo, that's a little tough to say how much room it has to grow. Everyone has a different opinion on it, but I usually trade the lower caps and the middle cap coins because they have so much room to grow. They usually haven't already pumped a crazy amount, which means that you can obviously get in and get some good profits. You're way less autistic than I thought. That's actually the nicest thing that I've heard today. So I really appreciate that comment, Adamatter. Can you go through your entire research process in choosing a coin from A to Z? I will go through some of it. But the entire process, I don't really have a written out process. I just, I've learned as I've gone along, and I'll show you guys some easy things that you can do. Alright, how did you get into crypto? Side question. In April of this year, I was at, there was a guest speaker at my school. His name was Brian Kelly. He's a pretty big guy on Wall Street. I think he started the first crypto hedge fund, and he was just talking about cryptocurrency, why it has value, and why you should get in it. After that, I got pretty interested, bought a book on it. Always been into tech. I pretty much instantly saw value in it, and I just started researching. I put in a little bit of money. College student, obviously didn't have too much money at the time to invest, and that's how I got started. Thank you for showing me Lux. Is Coinigy or TradingView worth the money or monthly expense? I actually am so cheap that I make a new email every 30 days just to get a free Coinigy account for 30 days. What book did you buy when you first started? I actually have it. This is the first book I bought. It's well, I'll wait for it to get on the camera. It's called Blockchain Applications: a Hands-On Approach. This is a really technical book. It's not something that you'd want to read if you don't really have any background in computer science. But there's plenty of good books on Amazon. If you want to first get started, then I'd suggest reading a book, just like a general book on, kind of like a business-sided book on why Bitcoin has value, a little bit about the tech behind it, and just start there. What do you study at college? I did computer science undergrad, and I also did business undergrad. Right now I'm in grad school doing computer science, but I'm going to take next semester off to try and go full-time crypto. I'm going to be putting out a bunch of educational videos. I'm going to be hopefully live streaming every day, and then I want to make a crypto education class. That's my plan right now. Got in on Dragon Chain ICO. Are you planning to hold your bag? Also, what's your 2018 price prediction for Dragon? So typically, when an ICO like Dragon Chain does a 6 or 7x a couple weeks after the ICO ends, I would take profits. I haven't sold any of my Dragon Chain. I actually bought more when it was at 0.006 because I think it's so undervalued. At the time when there was the ICO, Bitcoin was acting funny. ICOs, there was a lot of FUD about them, and the market was kind of just scared. And different than most ICOs, what Dragon did was they did a completely fair one where there was no price of the token when they started the ICO. So whatever was contributed was divided into the 200 million or whatever tokens that they were going to give out. So not that many people invested in it. I was really pushing for it. I was telling everyone it's going to be a great ICO. The team has connections with Disney, connections with the FBI, and a few others. They've already had their project going on for 2 years, so it was kind of a no-brainer when you saw it was only raising $14 million at the time. 2018 price prediction. I hate doing price predictions. I think that anyone who gives a target or a price prediction, especially for one couple months or year in the future, is just complete bullshit. I mean, short term you can give price predictions based on resistance points, but you have absolutely no clue. Dragon could easily be a top 20 coin. It could have $1 billion market cap. Now, at the time, crypto could have $1 trillion market cap. You just don't know. That's why price targets are really difficult. Are you still invested in Lux? Lux is one of my favorite coins right now. I've not sold any of my Lux since when I was shilling it a couple weeks ago. I really think that could be a 5 to 10x in the next couple weeks. Those devs have a lot of shit coming out. With how much... I lost it. With how much of your overall trading capital do you enter a single trade? Really just depends on the trade. I'd say I usually do around 5 to 10% in a trade if I know that there's some fundamentals behind it and the chart's looking good. And then I'll take profits pretty quickly. I'll take profits pretty quickly on that trade, especially if I'm doing 10 or more percent of my portfolio into it. Again, I'm a really high-risk trader. I would not recommend trading like this. It's just the way that I've found success. Everyone trades differently. That's really the most important thing I want to stress to everyone. You can make money in crypto trading so many different ways, and you just got to find what works for you. Some people, the only thing that works for them is you buy a coin and you come back a year later, and they'll make great returns on it. Other people, they like to refresh their blockfolio every 15 minutes. They're short-term traders. If you're going to be a short-term trader, you got to figure out how to take profits and how to be winning, because obviously in the short term, we're going to have Bitcoin runs, we're going to have altcoin runs, we're going to have FUD. So really just find whatever strategy works for you. If you just go on Google and type in trading strategies, a ton of shit will come up. Another thing I want to talk about is learn to use Google. Sorry guys, but I'm getting so many dumb questions in my DMs, in my Telegram group, that you can just answer with a simple Google search. I probably Google like 4,000 things a day. Google hates me, but that is the quickest way to get information, quickest way to get accurate information as well. How do you keep track of your investments? Blockfolio, Excel. I actually don't keep track of it on Blockfolio or anything. I'm already stressed enough. I can only imagine if I had Blockfolio open on my phone all day. So I do not keep track of my investments in an app. I just have them in my... Uh-oh. Not sure what happened. My computer just went black for a second.